What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is discussing how to perform in solo cash cups in Fortnite Chapter 3. As you probably know by now, solo cash cups are coming in the next few days, or might even be going on as you're watching this video. And that means that there's plenty of chances to make money or simply practice and improve your skills. Whatever your goals may be with this game, in today's video, my goal is to teach you exactly what you need to know in order to place higher and perform better overall in these solo tournaments in Chapter 3. Before we get into it though, be sure to drop a like if the video helps you out, and consider subscribing if you're new and want to see more. Before we hop into today's video, guys, I want to take a minute to discuss our sponsor, which is Opera GX. If you haven't heard of Opera GX, here's what you need to know. Opera GX is the ultimate web browser for all sorts of gamers, with tons of built-in options like custom music with GX Player, built-in plugins for Discord, Twitch, Facebook, as well as GX Corner, which has some of the best deals on games, gaming news, even free games. There's so much more as well. Opera GX is unarguably the best web browser custom built to fit all of your gaming needs. And one of my personal favorite features of Opera GX is definitely the customization options. Opera GX has so many different color schemes and designs that you can customize and make your browser look amazing. And finally, guys, Opera GX also recently introduced GX Mobile, which is basically the iOS version of Opera GX. And you can actually connect it straight to your computer and get many of the same features, as well as your own theme and everything like that. Opera GX has so many different features that are perfect for gaming, and I absolutely believe that this is the best web browser for anyone in the gaming space on both PC and mobile. With that said, if you want to check out Opera GX absolutely free, I recommend you head down to the link near the top of the description, where you're going to be able to install it right away and get started. With that said, thank you once again, Opera GX, for sponsoring today's video, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to discuss in today's video is going to be the scoring and format of these solo cash cups. Starting off with the basics, these cash cups are two-part tournaments, so basically you have two rounds. The first round is the open round, which is obviously available to everybody who's in champs, and then the top 100 players are going to advance to round 2, which is going to be the next day. Each round is 3 hours, so it's a total of around 3 hours if you don't make top 100, or 6 hours if you make day 2 and play that out. When it comes to scoring, here's how that's typically going to look. You get 1 point each for top 75, 50, 40, 35, and 30. Then you get 2 points each for top 25, 20, 15, and 10. Then it's back to 1 point for top 9, 8, 7, and 6, 2 points for top 5, 1 point for top 4. Then you get 2 points for top 3, 3 for top 2, and finally you get 5 more points for the win. All in all, this totals out to 30 placement points for a win, and then you're going to get 2 points for every kill. Regarding how to play optimally with this format from just a strategy perspective, it's honestly fairly balanced, and it's definitely going to depend on your skill set. With this point format being 2 points per kill and 30 for the win, honestly that's pretty balanced, or maybe slightly leaning towards kill oriented for these tournaments. If you didn't know already, this is pretty much the exact same format as Chapter 2 Season 8, except the main difference is it's now 2 points per kill instead of 1 like it used to be. So with that said, the most balanced way to play is going to be a passive aggressive play style. You don't want to camp, but you also don't want to W key like there's no tomorrow. Starting off with a W key game is definitely a smart idea, and then getting into that tournament mindset in your second game and on, you should be good. Kills are definitely really valuable in these tournaments, and W keying can give you a major edge, at least in the open round, but you're still going to want to play around your best skills, so if you struggle with W keying, don't feel bad and think you have to do it or you're going to fail completely. Ultimately, it's really up to you, but my recommendation is 1 W key game at the start if you're good in fights, and then basically a classic tournament playstyle, passive aggressive, for the rest of the tournament. Fight when it's realistic to fight, otherwise focus on getting stacked and getting placement with extra kills whenever they're available. So for the next section of this video, we're going to be discussing all sorts of practice methods and strategies that you should use to prepare for these cash cups. Now, as I said before, kills are really valuable in this tournament, so if you do struggle with any form of fighting, that's going to be the main thing you're going to want to improve on as you prepare. When it comes to fighting as a solo, the top practice methods I recommend include zone wars, realistic 1v1s, arena W keying, and creative free-for-alls. Those are pretty much the main methods that you're going to want to focus on in order to maximize your improvement, and a healthy mix of all 4 of those practice methods should really help you a lot if you're struggling when it comes to fighting. Another critical part of preparing for a tournament is finding your drop spot. As you know by now, there are a ton of different spots on this map, but for a solo tournament, I recommend landing at a fairly quiet spot with good loot and some forms of mobility. You're going to want to get kitted and prepared before you actually get into fighting and such, but you also don't want to be too far out where you're unable to get into the action and get any kills. I did do a video recently about solo drop spots, and I covered 8 different amazing spots in that video, which you might want to consider using. So if you want to check that out, you can feel free to do so. But aside from that, the biggest key is really just going to be seeing what you're comfortable with. Do a bit of exploring, try out some different spots, and really focus on finding a spot that mixes good loot with some form of mobility while also not having an absurd amount of players. And if your drop spot matches all of those, then you should be in a good spot. I do feel like some players really put too much emphasis on their drop spot, but honestly, the thing is, it all balances out in the end. Very good drop spots are going to have lots of players, and even if you think you found a diamond in the rough kind of spot that nobody goes to, chances are if it's actually that good, then people are going to discover it later on and it's going to get more populated. So overall, find a solid spot that you're comfortable with and you should be good. And getting into my next tip for preparing for these solo cash cups, and that's going to be VOD reviewing. At this point, I've literally discussed VOD reviewing in about every single tournament focused video, but that's for good reason. VOD reviewing is absolutely the best way to find your mistakes in Fortnite, and even though you may be getting annoyed by how often I discuss it on the channel, that's only the case because it works. My top recommendation is to play a bunch of arena games and a bunch of scrims as you would when trying to prepare for a tournament of any sort, and then you really want to go into replay mode and review your games. Focus on finding areas you can improve on, and then you want to develop a strategy to actually improve on them. It may take a few hours of reviews overall, but if you can find your consistent weak points and then devise a strategy to actually fix them, you're going to be so far ahead in terms of improvement, and that's going to reflect in your placements as well. And once you do actually play some cash cups, VOD reviewing your cash cup games is another fantastic strategy since you're literally watching the exact thing that you're trying to improve at. Finally guys, for the last section of this video, I want to discuss your mental state during tournaments, aka your mentality. I can tell you that one of the biggest killers in Fortnite tournaments is unrealistic expectations. I'm going to give you guys the truth here, even if it hurts, as I really do want you all to improve and do well, but the truth is that you're probably not going to do well in your first tournament. In fact, if you're not experienced and competitive, if you haven't played any tournaments before, you're probably actually going to be pretty pissed off by the result, because it's really easy to underestimate the difficulty of tournaments. So my biggest piece of advice is to set small goals and really just focus on doing your best, and especially don't sit there and try to compare your result to those of pro players and think you're completely hopeless because you didn't place as high as Mongrel in your first tournament, because it honestly does take a really long time to get to that skill level. To put it simply, just go into these cash cups recognizing that your odds of making top 100 or even anything close to that during your first time are astronomically low, but given enough time and dedication, it can definitely happen. I do also have a mentality video which covers some other things like raging and tilting, confidence, and other things of that nature, but the main mentality issue in tournaments that I find simply comes down to expectations. So once you do get that all cleared up in your mind, you should be in a good spot. But with all that said guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video on how to place higher in solo cash cups during chapter 3. Overall, understanding the scoring and format, knowing how to practice and prepare for these tournaments, and being able to keep your mentality in check while you're playing should all result in you improving very fast in these tournaments and potentially even making round 2 or even making money if you practice for a while. Keep in mind that improving at competitive Fortnite is a really long and difficult process, so don't feel bad if you struggle in your first tournament or even in your first 20 tournaments. It's a really long process, but if you can apply yourself and you really focus on improvement, you should be able to make some serious progress. If this video did help you out, then be sure to drop a like on it and consider subscribing as well if you want to see more content just like this in the future. As well as that, be sure to check out Opera GX, which is going to be linked near the top of the description. And lastly guys, if you want to help your boy out a bit extra, then consider using code TECHO in the Fortnite item shop, as it's 100% free and it really does help me out a ton. With that said though, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.